the power. To shatter the strongest. Conquer the indestructible with Ronex's collection of angle grinders.
Hello, assalamu alaikum and good night to everyone. I now remember I have to take off my phone. You have to excuse me for that. So let me do this quickly here. All right, and my name is Nazem Ishmael, and with me is Mr. Richard Jagesa, who is well known to everyone. I don't think he needs any further introduction. So we're first going to start with our dinner, which was a huge success. We're just going to give you some shots, some highlights of it, and then we have so much to talk about. I mean, literally so much. We might have to go after 9:30. So, all right, here we go. Here is the first shot here. As you can see, a surprise they show you the first shot with the seats empty because we didn't have any empty seats. Everything was filled to capacity. So this shot you see in here is when Imam Khalif was making the opening dua. So as you can see, was an open air event. We were blessed in the sense that there was flooding in Shogwonas, flooding in Arangwes, and no rain at the Barakah grounds. So we were truly blessed, and everyone had a wonderful time. We have some other slides that will be coming up. So in the meantime, Richard, you were there. How you found
wonderful experience, wonderful experience. Now this is a fundraising event for funds to complete the hospital at Barakah grounds. And I believe it was in the works for less than 3 weeks, and tickets were sold out. 1,200 to 2,000 tickets were sold out. And let me tell you, there wasn't even, I usually say standing room only, there wasn't even room to stand. You couldn't even move when you walked in. It was so rammed packed. Yes. And this is a better shot. You could see literally no empty chairs, people standing at the corner of the building. And for those of you who do not know, that white and blue building to the back, that is the future of healthcare in Trinidad and Tobago. That is the hospital at Barakah grounds.
Correct. The event was, and here is Imam Khalif, who was opening with his dua. But this event was strictly to raise funds to continue the project. We do need to raise funds for a generator, and the cost of that generator, based on what Brother Inshan was saying, is approximately a little over $500,000. So we will like to implore you, beg you, to continue supporting us so that we can at least see this project to fruition. On the screen here now is Zach, Brother Inshan's son, and his sister Zaria. So I don't know if we gonna, and there is A.M. Corino, the auctioneer, who Sunday night sold some pieces of Arabic literature that was done on I think was what sheeting he did.
Was it glass, acrylic?
Acrylic.
Yes.
That were really beautiful. The persons who bought these will cherish these pieces forever. It was really it was really good.
Now hold on. Now I understand that in order to mount it up, you need at least 2 persons, somebody to look at it at eye level, somebody to make sure it's straight, a wall plug, a drill, and all of those things. And as far as I'm concerned, that sounds as though it needs a trip to the hardware and somebody with experience to do those things. Don't call me to do those things.
Right. It is simply, I think one of the things you have to have to is a spirit level to make sure that.
A what level?
A spirit level. Just to put
That's
to
for
the
your
top.
feelings and emotions and so on?
Just to put a level, just to put to the top, to make sure when you're drilling your holes, the object is actually straight.
Yes. I know. So, I think we sold some pieces. All the pieces went for thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
The last piece went for the most. It went to a lovely family, a mother, father, and son. And they were so. I remember they let the son bid, but when the son raised his hand, I think he was 6 or 7 years old. I could barely see him. So the father was giving me sign. Yes, go ahead. Take any bid.
But I didn't know you were trained in auctioneering too.
I'm not. You came up to me 10 minutes before and said, Richard, you'll auction some pieces. And I said, okay.
But you did a good job.
Thank you so much. And of course, as I always say, anything to help that hospital come to life. Anything to help that hospital open its doors.
Thank you.
Yes.
So what's on your side of the woods tonight?
We have a packed agenda. I know I always pick 1 or 2 of the heavy-hitting issues. Today, the heavy-hitting issue seems to be the proposed salary increase for those people who live high up in the clouds, for those people where the air is very thin. So let's get straight into it. The SRC, Salary Reviews Commission, wants to increase the salaries of those non-performers in government. As you can see on the screen there, guys, SRC proposes $87,000 plus salary for PM and $1 million in back pay. Now, let's put that into perspective. The Prime Minister currently receives around $59,000. Now, that's base salary. You have perks on top of that. All right? They want to increase $59,000 to $87,000 and change, almost 88, plus perks. That would cost us, the taxpayer, in back pay alone, that will cost us over $1 million. The taxpayer has to bear that cost. Now, let's put it in perspective as to what the average person earns. In 2009, HBC did a survey, and the average household in Trinidad and Tobago earns around $9,000. In 2023, there was another similar survey, but the results have not been published. So what the newspaper did, they estimated. They said, well, if it was $9,000 in 2009, it's probably around $11,000 now. Understand that, eh? Yeah. $11,000 is the average monthly income of a household in Trinidad and Tobago. And they're proposing...
And they take out tax yet.
And they might take out tax yet. No, that's before tax. And they're proposing an increase for the Prime Minister to almost $88,000. Let's put that in perspective. That is 7 times more than the average citizen. That is 699% greater than the average person. The Prime Minister at $87,000 plus is going to be earning 699% more than the regular citizen of Trinidad and Tobago.
No, I think it was being said that they didn't get an increase for over 10 years. Is that correct?
So they are saying that the last SRC report, which was the 117th report, was laid in Parliament in February 2024, and that was not approved. However, even that put the Prime Minister's suggested salary at $80,000. So from February to November, it's gone up by $7,000. So when you put it into perspective, look at that big gap between the Prime Minister's salary and the regular citizens. You know? And there are even some persons in Trinidad and Tobago who make less than $11,000 per month. But that's the average. The average is 7 times more. You know? So let's also look at, for example, cabinet members. Cabinet members are going to move from 41,000, an average of 41,000, to 52,000. To 52,000 plus certain perks, 52,000 plus. The Chief Justice will move from 50,000 to 60,000. Imagine that the Chief Justice is going to get less than the Prime Minister. Chief Justice is going to level at 60,000 and the Prime Minister is going to get 88. All right? The Commissioner of Police, oh God, the biggest non-performer in the country, is going to go, 43,000 and change. For what?
Exactly.
If these things were based on performance, they should get a reduction.
But someone has to find out what is the yardstick that the SRC use for wanting to give these individuals the necessary increase, because they haven't performed.
Exactly. If this was being done based on performance, these people should get a decrease instead of an increase. Now, I want to get into the WASA, the CEO of WASA, in comparison to this, but in a minute, I want to just touch on an article I read, page 6, Guardian, Tuesdays. 1 second, let me just find it. Here we go. Now, this is interesting because, as you know, there are MPs and senators on the government side, and there are cabinet members who are ministers. Then there are junior ministers or parliamentary secretaries who do not sit in cabinet. Now, the increase of cabinet members would not apply to a non-cabinet member, such as a junior minister. Here we have a member of the government, Mr. Lawrence. He is the member for Laventille East, MOVA. He's the MP, and he's a junior minister. He's the minister in the Ministry of Housing. Adrian Lawrence, speaking yesterday outside the Red House. MP for Laventille East, MOVA, and minister in the Ministry of Housing. Adrian believes that the government will not adopt the SRC report proposing wage hikes for 650 state officials. He then goes on to say, speaking with Guardian, he then goes on to say, I don't think it's going to happen, not at this time. Asked if this was the position of cabinet, he said, no, I'm not cabinet. I'm not cabinet.
Backtrack.
So this is a member of the ruling party. This is a junior minister, and even he is saying it's too much money. But I feel he's saying that because he's not going to get that increase.
But I believe in, I wanted to support in what he's saying. They are not going to take that increase. Not at this time. You see, with a pending election, they are not going to take that.
Boy, I feel they're so mad, they might very well take it, I feel they might spit in people's face who going home with $3,600 and take it,
If they accept that, as I said previously, it shows quite clearly that this government is doing any and everything to demit office. If they accept that.
You know what it is? To be told by a minister, our prime minister, tighten your belt. Tighten your belt. Tighten your belt. He said it 4 times. Tighten your belt in the last 9 years. Tighten your belt to the point where it don't have any more hole. We run out a hole on the belt. We had to punch more hole in the belt. And he's still saying tighten your belt. Meanwhile, he taking home 7 times the average salary.
And the citizens had to wait until what, 2027?
And the citizens had to wait till 20. And some of them walking away with 4% increase. Last time public servants got in 2009.
Public
some
servants, of them? I think it's 2013.
Some of them, yeah.
Yeah, because some accepted the 4%. I think the only outstanding one right now is WASA.
As you say, WASA, let's get into WASA. So we put in this thing, think about it. There is something called the public purse. There is all the money that the government collects located somewhere. And at this point, I think Imbert or the Prime Minister think is located under the bed.
I believe so.
And they're just dipping it and giving it away. Dipping it and giving it away. Absolute madness. $1.2 million for the new WASA CU. Imagine that. This non-Trinidadian, this St. Kitts born individual, so they're not even giving the money to Trinidadians, the non-Trinidadians. This St. Kitts born individual will receive a salary, a base salary of $100,000 per month. You can imagine that?
We don't have nobody in Trinidad could run WASA.
It have people no running water. None, no running water at all. None. It have people in this country with partial running water. It have people in this country with partial running water looking like Moby.
Very strong Moby.
And for that entity, for that enterprise, for that public authority, you're going to give the person in charge $100,000? I feel WASA owe us $100,000. WASA owe every house in this country $100,000. Now, let's go on. $100,000 is base salary, yeah? Let's go on. He will receive a housing allowance of $8,000 per month. That's rent because he has to come from St. Kitts. Yeah. So we're paying his rent for him. A fully maintained car. So we're going to give him a car and we're going to maintain it for him, not exceeding $400,000. Of course, that's per annum. Business and personal entertainment allowance, $2,300 maximum, and $1,000 a month in cell phone. So we're paying his cell phone, we're paying to maintain his car, we're paying his rent in his house, and we're giving him $100,000, and we're saying continue to have damaged pipes, overworked workers, not destroyed roads, absolute nonsense in WASA. And that comes at the same time as SRC comes to increase salaries for these officials, these non-performers, such as the Commissioner of Police and so on.
I don't know. I really don't know where we're heading, you know.
We're heading to bankruptcy. Now, I want to put this in perspective. I want to look at another government. The NAR cabinet, and I'm reading from the same Saturday article, the NAR cabinet did not accept the increases for members of the cabinet while Manning agreed to smaller increases. So look at two previous cabinets. NAR said no increase for us. NAR looked at the social economic climate and said no increase. We're not taking any increase. Even the last PNM administration under Patrick Manning said we'll take a small increase. All right? In respect to the Commissioner of Police, the SRC has recommended a salary from $39,300 with effect from April 2020 to March 31st, 2023, a salary of $43,000 and change. Now, again, that is the biggest non-performer in the country. That is the person who said, put suggestion boxes in police stations. That is the person who said, pray the crime away, right? And I'm going to get to another issue. That is the person who let police officers who are charged for a serious offense, who let them go because of her agents' inability to comply with court orders. And we'll get to that before the night is over. So when you look at this thing holistically, you see wanton wastage of funds. We see ridiculous government spending. We see a waste. We see an absolute waste. And I am not seeing any way, any logical person who could say this makes sense.
Well, the only person who will probably make sense of it is the ones who get in the increase if they decide to take it. But I strongly believe they are not going to accept it.
I'll take you up on that.
Today is what date? Today is the 19th?
Yes.
20th? The 20th of November, I am saying they are not going to take the salary increases. We'll have to play back this.
Of course. You know, when we open the lines, I think it's important for people to comment on this. How do you feel about the salary increase? Should it be based on performance? Should it be based, what should the criteria be for these ministers? Should the ministers not have to tighten their belt as well as the rest of us? You know, it shows how out of touch they are. It shows how untouchable they think they are. It shows that they exist in a bubble on their own. It shows that they live so high in the clouds, so high in the air, where they forgot what the regular man feels, what the burden of the regular citizen feels. And they will be so bold-faced. They will be so out of timing for the young people who's watching. They will be so bold-faced to come in the next few weeks and the next few months, as the case may be, and ask for your vote. They will be so shameless to come and ask for your vote, while you now know that they are receiving, in some instances, over 7 times your salary. 7 times your salary. Absolute madness and ridiculousness.
Richard, they are not the shameless one, you know. You see, come election, you see the people who going back and vote them in. These people are the shameless ones. Because they don't care. They rather live a life where they're surviving day to day. Some of them, day for the next 2 days. But they will go back and vote them all, because in this country, we're so polarized where the politics are concerned.
Yeah.
We're extremely polarized. So the people who vote in are the shameless ones.
Yeah. I think it's time to set aside this racial divide, this division that others have imposed on us and forced upon us. It's time to set that aside and look at the reality. Look at the figures. Look at the state of our country. They are taxing you, and the roads destroy your car. They are taxing you on your property after taxing you on all of the material you purchased to build your property. They are taxing you on your residential property based on an imaginary rental figure, while all of the businesses in Port of Spain go scot-free. They are taxing you while all of the boats and the yachts in Chagaramas and so on, no tax for them. They are taxing you on your salary. They are taxing you on the pittance that you earn, while they get a dip in the public purse and waste money with external attorneys all the way to the Privy Council, and wasted legal fees in claims with no hope. They are taxing people like me and you, while they pay people from St. Kitts $100,000 and change. That is, look at the figures, look at the reality. Set aside race for a second. Set aside what the great-grandfathers and grandmothers were taught, and open your eyes and see that this existing government does not care. You have to tighten your belt. You are forced to go to the gas station and pay the same price as if you were living away. You have to tighten your belt and forced to pay an arm and a leg at the grocery. You know, some people when they go to the grocery, they buy the peas, small pack,
Bare
red beans,
necessity.
the bare necessity, a small oil,
Yeah.
flour, and so on.
But supermarket know that too. Supermarket knows that the people don't have the buying power now. So where you used to have, they might probably have £5, they start to cut it down.
Yeah.
Just so they might start selling dal by the grain, the way things going.
Yeah, this is absolutely ridiculous, and it comes at a time when I think it is opportune for us, especially the young people. especially the young people. Look at the figures. You know how much you make. You know how much rent is. You know how much it costs to drive into Port of Spain to your job and pay for parking. You know you have to reach earlier than 5 a.m. to get a park on the street, and even then they might pass with the wrecker and wreck your car, and there's another 500 to get it out. Young people, you know how hard you studied for that degree. You know how hard you studied for that diploma. Look at doctors, for example. They can't get a job. Teachers, for example, they can't get a job. Those are people with degrees.
We have a lot of people who came out with degrees and they on the breadline.
Exactly.
And we have so many vacancies to be filled.
And most of the young people, 25 to 35, they still live in their parents' home. They still live in their parents' home, so they're saving that rent in most instances. And still, those of you who have car loans, for example, can you really make ends meet? And imagine that. You are asked to tighten your belt. You are asked to eat less. You are asked to do more with less, and they want a salary increase at the end of their 10-year tenure? That is madness. That is madness. Set aside race and let's have a discussion on it. I think it's time we should take a break. We've been going for about 25 minutes.
When you come back, you're going to take calls on this particular issue?
Sure, we can open the lines and so on.
All
so
right.
guys, let's take our first break.
The power. To shatter the strongest. Conquer the indestructible with Ronex's collection of angle grinders. Ronex's premium quality.
Attention all bakers, doubles vendors and roti makers. Try our high quality bromate free, all purpose and whole wheat flour. Low price and conveniently packaged in 2 pounds, 2 kg, 10 kg and 25 kg bags. For wholesale and retail prices, contact Shiklisho Limited at 665-3336 or 480-8715 or visit us at Warrenville, Canupia. Shiklisho Limited, quality you can trust.
Mitsu Air Limited, authorized Mitsubishi air conditioning dealer. No need to replace your air conditioning units ever so often. Split units, cassette, ductable, CTVIF systems and much more. Mitsubishi Electric has long been powering industries and providing solutions for healthy living. Mitsu Air Limited boasts the industry's first 10-year warranty on all parts and labor. Inverter units are also available. Don't hear it, just feel it. Mitsu Air Limited, 246 Eastern Main Road, Barataria. Give us a call at 674-4000 or 675-4000 or email us at mitsu.limited@gmail.com.
Welcome back. For the past 2 weeks, Mr. Jagesa has dealt with the Forex issue in detail. He explained to you, and I think almost every lay person had a pretty good understanding of it. And to make things even clearer, we have 2 former PNM ministers, Robert LeHunt and Mariano Brown, who has come out openly and said that Rowley and Imbert is speaking, I wouldn't say rubbish, they're speaking gobar. So just imagine, 2 former P&M ministers said that. So this is a total indictment against the leader and the Minister of Finance, who has been dodging, even with the ruling of the Auditor General case, where he is not even being called to question. I don't know how far that reached. What is Euler and the police is doing about that? When are they going to question Mr. Imbert concerning that? Because it's public funds that are being missing. I don't think they found any of those. Have they accounted for those funds?
2.1.
2.6.
2.6 billion with a B. $1 billion with a B missing.
And the Minister of Finance hasn't been called, they haven't put him over the coals.
Yeah.
He should have been there.
You know what's amazing about that? Someone who lives in London, who is only aware of our internal public service issues because of affidavits, because of evidence, because of documents put before her. A law lord in England who looks at the case in front of her, looked at the case and said, why is nobody investigating the Minister of Finance? You know what that tells me? Any reasonable person looking at this, any reasonable person looking at the events taking place in this country, especially in the Ministry of Finance, will find there to be irregularities and questionable conduct, barring very closely on misconduct. A law lord has said there should be an investigation into Imbert. That is as clear and as precise and concise as one could possibly get.
Of course. And it seems the powers that be just keep taking their hands off. That's why I recall when with the meritless. Similarly with the meritless, no one was held accountable for the meritless being diverted after it was lodged by the chairperson.
Yes.
No one was question, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, the Prime Minister said that he went to the President's house on that said day when the list was taken back, when it should have gone straight to Parliament.
Correct. So they have a habit of sweeping things under the rug and acting as though we will forget. So you know, I like the timing of this particular issue, because the Prime Minister has been very silent on this foreign exchange issue for quite some time. Now, he was asked in Parliament on Monday a series of questions. One question was, given the query by British law lord Lady Simler, will there be an investigation into the role of the Minister of Finance? You know what Rowley said? Rowley said, I am not aware of any query by any British or other law lord, and I am not aware of any role of the Minister of Finance in failing to provide information to the Auditor General. The Prime Minister said he is not aware of what the Privy Council said. It was in the front page, PM. It was in the front page. It was all over the news. But I understand that sometimes you may miss things. I understand that sometimes special branches may come in your yard and you may miss it. I understand that this is a special case and a special scenario and you may have missed it. But I am here to tell you that a law lord has asked has questioned why there is no investigation, and you need to do better other than simply saying, I am not aware. Make yourself aware and answer the call of the law lords in the Privy Council.
No, the Prime Minister has already has said that the buck stops with him.
Always said that.
Always said so. So what happened now? No action. He has taken no action. This one with. All right. It have a paragraph here that I have to read with Mr. Hunt. That's from.
You want me to tackle it?
Yeah, I can.
So I know you wanted to address this. Now this is in relation to the foreign exchange statements made by the Prime Minister, which we've just looked at. And several economists and former ministers have weighed in on the issue. And in this particular instance, a former minister under the PNM has said, and I quote, there is a genuine shortage of foreign exchange in the market. There is a genuine shortage of foreign exchange in the market. I had a quote here, I had a quote somewhere here, where the Prime Minister said, there is no shortage of foreign exchange, and he blames the fact that we are now buying more goods and there is a greater demand and the supply is the same. All sorts of manure, all sorts of gobar. But the truth is, look at here, there is a genuine shortage of foreign exchange in the market. And then we have another economist saying, I think the minister, that is the Minister of Finance and the Prime Minister, can hold that position largely because while they continue to maintain an official exchange, the real reason this economy is operating is because of the black market rate, which hovers around $7.5 to $8. That is the rate at which everyone is operating, because if you cannot get the money in the bank, you have to go to the black market. So the reality is the economy, given the current supply, is operating at the black market rate. That's an economist saying that. And it goes on to say that there are other levers within the economic environment, such as control over our supply of money, interest rates, taxes, and so on. But those are, and that's from LeHunt. Now, those are things that the Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance are ignoring. They're not talking about that. Their position is only about devaluing the dollar. They want to scare the population into thinking that is the only solution to this foreign exchange crisis. They want to scare the population into thinking that's what we're asking for. That's not so. That's absolute folly. That's lies. That's not the truth. The former minister has come out and suggested other means. Economists has come out and suggested other solutions. You have to adopt those. You have to consider those things. How long is the Minister of Finance going to meet with all these interest groups? He's still meeting with them?
I don't know.
You know, his time is short.
And they're blaming credit card users.
Yes. Everything is blame other people.
Credit cards are being used to purchase motor vehicles.
Absolute madness. When the cap on the credit card is $2,000, that could buy a Zabuka.
When you check the amount of new vehicles coming in the country, they ain't talking about foreign exchange and that. Pass on the highway by your seat of a business place there. See how much containers on their yard. Where they getting foreign exchange from? And does the foreign exchange stay here or it leave the country?
Absolute madness.
So the blame continues. They will continue to blame the people for their incompetence.
While they take a salary increase.
They're not going to take the salary increase. I'm telling you, they're not going to take it.
We'll see. Now, the other issue I wanted to touch on is relative to crime. Now, in truth, we cannot discuss a salary increase for the Commissioner of Police when she is a failing Commissioner of Police. When crime is rampant, I think we're at 553 murders. This morning figure was 553 versus last year, the same time, was 514. 514 last year, this same time, to 553. And that person, the Commissioner of Police, wants a pay increase. The Minister of National Security, who will be a cabinet minister, he wants a pay increase. Absolute madness.
Well, Mr. Colport on the news said that he have nothing to be ashamed of with the police officers that were in San Grande, where the judge dismissed the case because of the police didn't provide the relevant documents on time, and the state prosecutor wasn't present.
Yes. Let's get into that for a second. So, 7 police officers were accused of extortion. I think early this year, I believe it was February, was it?
Before you continue, I think on the news I heard tonight a next set of officers.
For extortion.
They got off too.
You know, before we get into this, it's funny that extortion in this country has gotten to the point where the Commissioner of Police has set up an anti-extortion unit with police officers. Meanwhile, police officers are charged with extortion.
Yeah, but you know who heading that extortion?
Who?
Richard
Not me.
Smith.
ACP.
ACP Smith.
ACP Smith.
Who the West, with the Public Complaints Authority, had a letter against him for disciplinary action.
Misconduct in public office.
And nothing was done. And he's heading that.
And who a High Court judge has called an officer in khaki who needs to be investigated.
Correct.
Interesting. So he is appointed the head of this anti-extortion unit team, and officers are charged with extortion. So the irony, and you want to give that making any sense?
I mean, the police said they know who they're selecting.
You know, I don't know if people still say it, but when I was growing up, it had this thing we saw. It come like you give the fat kid the cake to God.
I think she should say you put cheese and you leave the rat to
Yeah.
guard it.
You leave the rat to guard the cheese. So 7 police officers were accused of extortion, and I think even on this show the video was aired. The video was aired where the 7 officers, I think they conducted a police exercise in Grandy, and there was a video, I believe it was 90 seconds long, and certain things were seen in the video. Plain as day, certain things were seen in the video. And 7 cops were accused of extortion, and a master of the High Court had to dismiss those criminal charges because of non-appearance of the police complainant, non-appearance of the regular prosecutor. I believe in this instance there was an acting prosecutor, and he or she said he didn't have a file and he has no awareness of a file, and the matter was forced to be dismissed. And it is beyond ridiculous. It is an affront to justice and common sense that in a country bound by democracy, we have a situation where the entire country has seen a video and officers fail to comply with simple court directions. Officers fail to comply with disclosure directions. Let me tell you how simple disclosure is. Everything in the file, scan it and email it. That's disclosure. Everything in the file, scan it and email it. That's how simple it is now. And you fail to comply with that? There is a court and process officer in the TTPS who is a liaison officer between the TTPS and the court. A court and process officer. A TTPS of person paid with tax-paying dollars to do that job. Sort of like a clerk. Sort of like the prosecutor's clerk. Where is that person in all of this? What happens in a case where the evidence is clear, or rather, even if the evidence is not clear, what happens when simply due to negligence and misconduct and failure to comply with court's directions, a matter of this magnitude is tossed to the side. Absolute ridiculousness. I want to find the quote that you mentioned earlier from Imbert. So take it over until I find that quote.
All right. Now I have a next issue to deal with, and that is just somewhere. My train that told just going there. I real tired. Oh God, I'm tired. And that's on whole day. That's on beat me today. So you have to excuse me. My eyes like it want to close. The NICU. Remember the case with the babies that died? And the Minister of Health, who said after the investigations were done by the foreign experts, the report will be made public. Well, information is that the parents of the children are not getting the report because they said there is some disclosure where you cannot get it. So from one person at the head to the others, they keep lying to you. In the beginning, they say it's going to be made public. Are they sanitizing it? What are they doing? The parents of these children have to be, look at the length they have to go to get information just to get closure. What else is going on in this place that we don't know about? So I would like to hear from the Minister of Health. Why is the report not being put in the public domain? And I think the opposition should raise this question in Parliament, and let's get an answer from the Minister of Health.
All right. So, sorry, I had to put you on the spot there. So you can come back to me, guys. So going back to the issue of these officers, speaking to Guardian yesterday, Martin, who is the DCP, Suzette Martin, who heads the PSB, she says, I'm waiting for a report. The matter was discharged, so I need to see the court report. She needs to see the court report. And the report from PSB. She's the DCP. At this time, I don't have reports in front of me. I can't do anything. I don't have a report in front of me. But guess what? Guess what? This is the report. I'm going to read the report for you now. Take the report. Take the report. It's live on Breaking Barriers. The report is, on Monday, Master Sarah De Silva dismissed the charges laid 18 months ago. 18 months ago, you had time to put your file together, against the officers after the state failed to present critical evidence, meet deadlines, or secure key witnesses. All of that. The report going good? The officers were charged following an investigation into a video in which they were allegedly extorting a Sandigrani businessman. The officers were charged following what they said was a sanctioned operation targeting illegal gambling establishments. Months later, they were accused of misappropriating funds and conspiring to commit robbery based on a viral video. That's the report. That's the report. The only thing you need now is the printer to connect to your laptop to print the charge.
All the evidence was in the video.
That's it. That's it. That's the and that's how simple it is in this country. Come now, man. Stop hiding. So you mentioned earlier about a report pending on the incident in the NICU. They're going to do the same thing here. They're going to have this report pending for how long? This is absolute madness in this country. Absolute ridiculousness. And we cannot stand for it. We cannot stand for it. Look at this. The commissioner must address whether disciplinary charges will be brought against the officers. If no action is taken, it sends a clear signal that corruption and incompetence are tolerated. Corruption and incompetence, because that's what it is. It is incompetence on parts of the officers who are allegedly pursuing this charge for the state. 18 months after the charges were laid, this is the result. It is completely, wholly untenable and unacceptable in such a society as ours. It is ridiculous. And that is the person, you, the Commissioner of Police, you want to give a salary increase to? Madness. Absolute madness.
Himself investigating himself. Police investigating police. It come like the committee that Mr. Imbert appointed.
To investigate the Auditor General.
He appointed to investigate something that he involved in.
Yes. Yes. You know, if you ask citizens how they feel about police officers, they would more than likely tell you they do not feel safe. Here it is. Poll shows public fearful and lack trust in TTPS. According to a survey, 75% of people were displeased with the way the TTPS deal with white-collar crime, while 51% of persons in Trinidad and Tobago were very dissatisfied, and 24% were dissatisfied. 24 dissatisfied, 51 very dissatisfied, and 75% displeased. Imagine that. And this is not a snowball survey, you know. This is 2,000 people plus. Of those, 85% were afraid of their family members or friends being victims of crime. 75% of people were afraid of leaving their doors open. 61% were fearful of being in the yard at night, in your own yard. Survey found that 50% were afraid to be on the streets in their neighborhood, and 74% were fearful to be in the streets in their neighborhood at night. Look at these figures. 17.1% dissatisfied and gave a total negative rating of 53.1%. This is the country saying this. And the Minister of National Security and the Junior Minister of National Security, the head of Coal Pot Enterprises Limited, and the Commissioner of Police sit by and watch you and tell you, pray the crime away. That's the society we live in. 553 murders. That's recorded murders, of course. And they sit by and they tell you, take it. Take it. We'll take a salary increase, but you take 553 murders. Look at these figures. This tells a story. This tells a story of a country riddled in fear, targeted by the criminal element, while those in power sit by in their ivory towers laughing at us with fat bellies and gold dripping from the sides of their mouth. Absolute ridiculousness. That's what the R in Rowley stands for, you know. Ridiculousness. Totishness. This tells a story of a society gripped by fear, hiding behind walls and barred windows. This tells the story of a society that is being murdered, kidnapped, and robbed. And those with the power, those with the vested authority under the democracy of our country to help simply choose not to and make statements like, I am not aware of what is going on. The hands-off approach needs to stop. Again, set the race aside and look at the figures. Tell me whether you feel safe in your own home, in your own neighborhood, in your own country. And then justify for yourselves why we should give any of these people a pay increase. I think we should take our second break, and then we could open the phone lines when we come back.
Yes, no problem.
Yeah, let's do that, guys.
The power. the strongest. Conquer the indestructible with Ronex's collection of angle grinders. Ronex's premium quality.
Attention all bakers, doubles vendors and roti makers. Try our high quality bromate free, all purpose and whole wheat flour. Low price and conveniently packaged in 2 pounds, 2 kg, 10 kg and 25 kg bags. For wholesale and retail prices, contact Shiklisho Limited at 665-3336 or 480-8715 or visit us at Warrenville, Canupia. Shiklisho Limited, quality you can trust.
Mitsu Air Limited, authorized Mitsubishi air conditioning dealer. No need to replace your air conditioning units ever so often. Split units, cassette, ductable, CTVRF systems and much more. Mitsubishi Electric has long been powering industries and providing solutions for healthy living. Mitsu Air Limited boasts the industry's first 10-year warranty on all parts and labor. Inverter units are also available. Don't hear it, just feel it. Mitsu Air Limited, 246 Eastern Main Road, Barataria. Give us a call at 674-4000 or 675-4000 or email us at mitsu.limited@gmail.com.
Good night, everyone, and welcome back. Our phone lines are now open. You can call in and discuss any of the topics that we've addressed tonight. In particular, I want to know how everybody feels about the salary increase. I want to know if this is something that you feel is justified. I want to know if this is something that you feel you can properly stand behind, given the circumstances and environment in which we live. I mean, you can go through every single minister and really look at their performance or lack thereof and determine whether each minister is deserving of an increase or a decrease. And I think if you do that exercise, you will find that all of them deserve a decrease. I think we have our first caller. Hello, good night, caller. You're live.
Good night, Attorney Jagasa and your co-host, Mr. Nizam.
Yes, sir. Good night.
I want to first talk about the SRC and then I want to talk about the TTPS. I believe something is wrong with the commissioners and the SRC. I think they benchmark the Prime Minister and the Commissioner of Police and etc., the rest of them, on non-performance. Why do I say that? One of the laziest Prime Ministers, and I'm not being derogatory.
I agree with you totally.
Said, right? He got the highest increase, non-performance highest. Erla Christopher, she said she's going to reduce the homicide. I think he put out a figure about 10%. Where it is now, it is about 12%. So she, based on her performance, is regressing, but she getting a 10% increase in salary. I think attorney say 39 to 43. So right. 39 to 43 is about a 10%, if you understand the little mathematics. Are better than they call it Camille and 50. They may pass the exams and things like that. Now, the second thing about the TTPS, we have to realize that the TTPS has collapsed. And unless we as citizens understand that and mitigate things against the criminal activities, we're in serious trouble. Why I say the TTPS has collapsed. You see the recent promotion to Commissioner of Police, Deputy Commissioner of Police, etc., the majority of those elevations came from the people who might have or allegedly were the people planning the day of policing. Go back and see. The senior police responsible for the special branch at that time has now been elevated to the commissioner of police. Go back and see. She was silenced. When she was brought against the review committee, the joint select committee, she was mum. She said she didn't know what happened there, and we elevated her to be the police commissioner. The second division, let's call them welfare, the two fellas, the head of honcho of that second division, they were mum. They refused to go. So you had a cartel inside there who planned this, and in the end result, 10 years after, they were rewarded. They were politically motivated. That is why we collapsed. Let's get back to some court cases now, the 7 and the 5. There is a DCP who is before the court for an accident. She was charged by an ACP. Or you should be aware of that. The police TTPS closed the case on that DTP. They say they had nothing to find. The parents of the child who was went to the PCA. The PCA investigated and tell the ACP you have to lay charges on that DCP. All you know who is the DCP. I ain't calling him. You ever hear a singer they call Martin? Right. The end of the day is what happened to those police who closed the file? Were they incompetent or they were hiding not to charge the superior? I hope when that case comes to court, the files don't go missing again.
All right, caller. I think we'll have to give some other callers a chance, please. All your information was welcome.
Yes, as you mentioned sitting officers, a High Court judge in a decision said, and this is a public decision, the apparent involvement of a senior khaki-wearing officer in the claimant's arrest on the 12th of October 2017 is a circumstance which is troubling and requires investigation. It goes on to say, consequently, the court hereby directs the acting registrar of the Supreme Court within 14 days to forward to the Commissioner of Police acting, as well as the head of the Police Complaints Authority, copies of all of the documents and next exhibit and file herein, together with a copy of the trial FTR recording, so that a determination can be made as to whether disciplinary charges should be instituted inter alia as against the senior officer who wrongly arrested and falsely imprisoned the claimant on the 12th into the 13th of October 2017. The senior khaki officer, for those who do not know, is now ACP Richard Smith. The claimant in this case was Inshan Ishmael. This is CV 2021-03410, Inshan Ishmael and the Attorney General of Trinidad and Tobago. And that was an excerpt from paragraph 16 and 17 of the judgment as public record. That is a High Court judge, just like the Privy Council, just like Lady Justice Simler, saying why no investigation into the Minister of Finance, so too a High Court judge here has directed an investigation into ASP Richard Smith.
And he got promoted.
In the meantime, while this is pending, he is promoted to head extortion detection in this country. Detection in this country. Let's go to the next caller.
Hello, good night.
Hello, good night.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, good night to the panel there. I have been observing for a long time now. Nonsense is taking place in this country, left, right, and center. The problem is our young people who are graduates and who are well qualified that you all have mentioned. I want to know why those old people who collecting so much benefit and have so much to live on and collecting a pension, why can't they train these young people a few months before and get them on the job and retire and enjoy your old age of pension and give these young people a chance? Train them and put them in line to continue the work. And there are other young people who already have a little job. Suddenly you see thousands of them going home. How can they survive? And they want taxes and they want this and they want that from everybody. How will they survive? How? I want to know again, those who have so much is getting much more. And the people are struggling. We can't even get medication. We can't even get to see a doctor. When you go there, it's so much suffering. I don't know what is, when you go to make an appointment, they say they will call you and all sorts of things to look after your eyes. I went in a clinic up to today since 2021. Nobody never called me. I want to know what kind of system this country is running on, because it seems as if, when a plane runs into a problem, how it crashed, it seems as if we are going to crash. The whole population sitting quiet and accepting this.
Yeah. So Auntie, let me ask you a question. If we, well, I'm assuming you don't agree with giving the Prime Minister $87,000 plus. Agreed?
Well, I think if you're asking the country to go through so much sacrifice and you're doing it, causing it to take place, why can't you make a little sacrifice too?
Correct.
And contribute to the country and let the young people get a little bread?
Exactly.
Let they start their life, make a foundation. When they get old now, when they get in the benefits and the pension, just retire and train these young people. You have a 3 month grace before you retire. You bring in these young people, you train them and let them continue the system. And I think our country will progress better, because right now, the young people's lives are being wasted away. Even those who don't have education, something's supposed to be done to protect those citizens in that category, that they can do some sort of jobs to build the country, and we can live at peace. Well, we can be safe and live at peace. It's time now. Something's supposed to be done.
Well, the young persons will have a chance. All the young persons who think they are being disenchanted, they have a chance. Election coming just now.
Begin somewhere. We can't be so selfish. We want it all and just come out downright. People lost their job. You must pay tax for this and more taxes for that. And the children being deprived of an education, the little young ones coming up. No, everybody has to live and let others live.
Well, Auntie, what I wanted to point out to you was what you've suggested has been done in other countries in the past. Could you imagine the back pay alone, the $1 million for Rowley alone? Could you imagine that if we were to assign, let's say the average $11,000 to, let's say, hiring new doctors. Let's say you hire new doctors. You could imagine, instead of giving him that $1 million, we could hire 90 new doctors.
Yes, we can. We have to give the young people a space. It's time the international body call out, right? And say, let us give our young people a chance.
Imagine that. Imagine you hire 90. Imagine 90 new doctors. All those doctors who graduate and home that Auntie talking about. Imagine 90 new doctors walking around in Mount Hope or Port of Spain General or San Fernando General or Arima Hospital. 90, Then Auntie wouldn't have to be waiting for a call back since 2021.
Yeah, I want to know what really taking place instead of we go forward after independence.
Yeah, let's give some. We have another.
Public status and whatnot. Yes, going instead of going forward, we're going backward. Everybody, you have your child. If you have a child of your own, will you starve your child and feed somebody else? Tell me.
Exactly.
You bring in outsiders, you bring in foreigners. Nobody saying where it is required they could come. When those people come and they walk here, you think they're staying here? They're getting US dollar to take out. Everybody helping themselves with the US dollar going out, and they just come and will walk and
hit the nail on the head,
And we bring in foreign nurses, foreign doctors. What happened with our people? All
right. We have to go to our next caller.
We have 4 more callers waiting. So let's. But Auntie hit the nail on the head, boy.
Hello, good night.
Yes, caller.
Hello.
Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum salam. I think what we have to do is limit the amount of time. I know 2 callers already gone, so we have to limit the amount of time so we can take more calls, please, right?
Inshallah.
Okay.
All right, lovely program as usual. I would like to address something to the learned attorney here, please.
Sure, go ahead.
Mr. Jagisa.
Hi, good night.
Good night, sir. What I would like to find out, Mr. Jagisa, is should someone retain the services of attorney for any court matter and pays any fees, shouldn't that person be given a stamped receipt from the attorney's secretary? Could you kindly answer that? To authenticate where he has paid X amount of money?
Well, caller, different attorneys' offices have different have different procedures and policies, but I don't see how that ties into tonight. But thanks for your call, caller. We have, I think, 4 more calls on the line. Thanks, caller, for that. So let's take the other call.
Hello. Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good night.
Yeah, good night.
Richard, good night.
Hi, good night, caller. Yeah.
Right, I want to ask you a few questions here real quick, right? First of all, right, anyone out there know if anybody in Tobago get any annual rental value for the property?
I'm not sure about Tobago.
I'm asking a question here because I'm trying to figure out if anybody in Tobago have property tax to pay as well. Because if we are Twin Islands, it shouldn't be on Trinidad alone, right? Anyhow, let me bypass that. The Prime Minister make a statement in Parliament stating that Trinidadians, well, citizens, on the other hand, saying that we have a foreign appetite, right? Yeah. So I'll break it down for you. Trinidad, we are growing nothing in Trinidad. Every single thing we consume, we have to import. Tell me if I lie. There's only if you go in the market, you get a few fresh things, and that is about it. You had to get sugar, you had to import sugar by the container, you had to bring it in. When we had a sugar factory here, not one, but we had, and they closed on everything. Everything P&M touched, they closed it down. Now, let's tell me if I'm wrong, eh? All these things we can be getting locally. They close on everything. Now they tell them we have a foreign appetite, right? Now, yeah, before I go, real quick, right? The whole issue with this foreign exchange thing, people not understanding what is going on. All we need in this country is an equitable distribution of the foreign exchange. That is all we need in the country. But people in this country, they're not seeing the bigger picture. Right? And the Prime Minister and the Finance Minister, as a matter of fact, they should have fired him since day one. Because he don't know nothing about what it is going on in the Finance Ministry. And before I go, fellas, the TTPS, I have no confidence in TTPS. And this, just bring it up a little more. Anyway, fellas, I'll enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah, man, thanks.
Yeah, good night, caller.
Hello, good evening. Hello.
Succinct and to the point.
Yes.
I think that's what you're trying to get from the caller. Succinct
Hello.
and to the point.
A very good evening to you, gentlemen.
Good evening, sir.
Mr. Jagesa and Mr. Ishmael, wonderful evening to you guys.
Yeah.
So
Good
I
evening,
was
man.
wondering all along, on a few occasions I had to say this on other programs, where callers don't use their discretion and go on and on and on and on, depriving other callers from getting in. So we should manage and take control over this.
Yes.
This is not a rebuke. This is just what is happening. And what I want to call and say, what I want to say is that people must be rewarded not for mediocrity, but for excelling and doing good things. Here we are rewarding the Prime Minister and everybody else who are going to be rewarded via the back pay and whatnot for mediocrity, and in some cases, below mediocrity. In the Olympics, they reward the athletes who excel, gold, silver, bronze, first, second, third, not people who come fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth. So this is ludicrous, total ludicrous. I wish that when they have the debate, before they accept this, and I want to believe that the Salary Review Commission didn't come up with this on their own, you know. they was probably, given a little nudge. These people, shameless and heartless, to no look at the condition of the country, the roads, bridges, healthcare, security, every single thing in a mess. And all you want to be rewarded for this?
Caller.
If everything was up to mark, one more thing, if everything was up to mark and good, and everybody was enjoying a reasonable, nice life, Rowley could have taken $187,000. No problem. All the best.
Caller, before you go.
Yeah.
You wanted to take a little, well, I cannot say wager, but I will challenge you that they're not going to accept the rate increase.
Everybody?
What do you think? What do you think, caller? They'll accept it or they wouldn't accept it?
So the opposition would be thinking twice. No.
But it's not an opposition. It's not an opposition.
Everybody starts salvating his money,
The law on it is quite clear. It is cabinet to approve. The law on it is clear. The SRC's report needs to be laid in Parliament. And that's how we all become aware of it. The SRC's report needs to be laid in Parliament. However, it is not up for vote. So the opposition, and even if it is not, but even if it should be, it is not up for special majority vote. So the opposition's indication that they not inclined to support it is irrelevant. It is cabinet's decision. And that is why I made mention of the junior minister who is not a member of cabinet, saying, as Uncle Nazim has said, that they wouldn't accept it. But he is not a member of cabinet. And that's why I made that point and I singled him out. Because we haven't heard from any of the existing cabinet members. But I think Uncle Nazim wants to enter into this wager to get my unsalted socks.
Maybe if it was the second year in the term, they would have taken it because Trinidadians on the whole have a 9-day wonder memory.
Right.
They would have forget about it. I don't want to be on the line
too long again. So let me finish up by saying, in good conscience, the government, the cabinet, they in good conscience. So refuse this, and of course it will become null and void. All the best. Have a great day.
All right.
You see, you're making me take a hard approach to this thing. I will have to say that I am firm in my thoughts. They will accept it.
All right. I will remind you and you will remind me.
I think now it's live. Hello, good night, caller.
Hello, good night.
Hi, good night, caller. You're live on Breaking Barriers.
All right, good night. Good night to you, Mr. Jagasa, and to Mr. Ishmael, and also to Brother Inchan Ishmael in his absence.
Yes, good night, sir.
I've been listening to the conversation here for over an hour and a couple minutes now. And according to Mr. Jagasa, I'm trying to be very reasonable in terms of, giving a comment. But please don't take this any way harsh or anything. But Mr. Inchan Ishmael is a man who's hit the nail where it needs to be hit on the head with the hammer. Right. But I've been listening for over an hour now, and I can't recall hearing Mr. Jagasa mention that the opposition leader is also going to get a pay increase. And also the Chief Justice will also be getting a pay increase.
No, I mentioned the Chief Justice. I mean, the Chief Justice goes up from 50,000 to 60,000.
Yeah, so I do not know as an officer of the court, you're probably shy to say that, or because I know for a fact that you have been hinting that you're willing to serve the opposition in any capacity if you are called to. That is why you are shielding the opposition leader. Because MP Rudolph Munigal has stated when he was asked by a reporter, what do you think about the pay increase? And he says he had no problem with that because the MPs are on call 24/7, right? So these are things should come out, and I'm trying to be very neutral and responsible. These are things that should come out because you don't want the program to be tainted on any particular line, right? And this is what the country needs: the young, honest people who are serving, and you have to be cognizant of the fact that in order to reach anywhere, Trinidad and Tobago is the first priority to serve. Don't serve any symbol or party, but country is yearning for that.
Yeah, thanks, caller. But just to set the record straight, I did mention the Chief Justice, all right? And secondly, I saw no point in mentioning the opposition's increase. One, because it's minimalistic. It's $3,000. It's an increase of $3,000 in comparison to the Commissioner of Police, which is an increase of $10,000 and change. In comparison to the Prime Minister, which is an increase of $27,000. And the second reason I saw no need to mention it is because they've already come out and said they're not going to support it. And in those circumstances, I didn't see the need to mention it. And I also went above and beyond to compare it to other cabinets, such as NAR and Prime Minister Manning's cabinet. So I felt that was a fair assessment of the review. So having done that, let's go to the next caller.
Hello, good evening.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Okay, I'm calling from St. Augustine. I have 2 points to make. First point is that why couldn't the opposition lobby the Speaker of the House to have the Minister of Finance account for that $2 billion missing? And the second point is that the people in the Salary Review Commission take them in a ferry to Tobago and drop them out in the Bocas and then swim back to Shakaramas. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So I think the procedure for that 2.3 billion, that's in the Auditor General's report, and that is going to be laid. It has to be laid, much like the SRC's report. It has to be laid before the Public Accounts Committee, and they will do the needful. And should I mention, the chairman of the Public Accounts Committee is a member of the opposition. So I think the caller specifically may mention to why the opposition doesn't do something. So I think that addresses it. So the Constitution sets out and mandates the Public Accounts Committee and gives it certain powers. So we'll see, depending on what the Auditor General lays before them, the report, we'll see where they take it. All right?
We have a caller. Hello, good night.
Thanks.
Hello?
Yeah. Hello?
Yes, go ahead. Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Good evening to the panel.
Good evening.
Yes,
yeah,
caller, you're live on Breaking Barriers.
Hello, good evening to the
Yeah.
panel.
Yeah, you can proceed. Hello, you're listening to your television and you're not listening to your phone. Hello?
Okay, I want to express, right, my disappointment with the government treatment of the Port Authority.
Injunction.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, what is happening there is that the workers have not received an increase in salary for the past 11 years, since 2013. This is 2024. Containers, thousands of containers being piled up at the port, and nothing is being done substantially. So what is happening is boats are leaving to go down to Point Lisas, where there's another logjam created there. And what that causes is an increase for shipments. And I want to warn the citizens of the country that they will be paying extra monies for this Christmas shopping. What the government is saying, what is their response to that impasse at the port?
No,
be
caller.
mindful of that. The
Caller,
government
isn't one of the reasons that the port workers not going to work, or they were asking for, is an agreement that was signed, I think it was in 2015, for a 12% increase, and the government is steadfast on not agreeing with that?
This is the point I was going to make. The government has refused to honor that agreement.
A signed agreement.
Minister
A signed agreement, yeah. I think the logic or the illogic in both use is that the CPO wasn't involved in the negotiations and therefore throw the agreement and start from scratch.
But the new CPO is in both?
He holding all the positions.
He telling you how much you can get?
He's police, judge, investigator.
Yes, caller. Go ahead.
Yeah, but no, that is causing a lot of, as I say, expenses for the businessmen. and that will be passed on the other side. Right? When you look at the reverse side of that now, we have thousands, in fact, millions of goods waiting to be exported throughout CARICOM, Latin America, Florida, Miami, all these places. That when you export goods, you get payment in US dollars. US dollars that would be coming into the country, into central bank, into the banking system. That would be flowing for citizens of the country. So I don't know if they are penny wise, pound foolish. What is really going on with this government?
Nobody.
Who is advising Minister Finance not a cent will be paid from that agreement? You know? Who is advising him? The engineer, Minister of Finance.
Well,
Does he know about accounts and finance? He is advising him not to pay. If they continue like that, this country could ground to a halt as far as this business. The workers not getting the money, and that is creating real problems.
Yeah, well, the injunction means the workers have to go back to work, but it doesn't mean how fast they have to work.
Well, that is the problem. So
Look.
You see too early? Agreement.
You understand? So,
former deputy governor of the central bank, he advising the government that they should pay the money, pay them the 12% that was agreed. Why is it they don't want to pay the?
And I think
Caller, Minister KD's.
Caller, correct me if I'm wrong. But what is happening is that these port workers in 2024 are still receiving 2014 salary. Is that correct?
2013 salary.
2013 salary. So 11 years later. Right? Okay. So let's put it into perspective. So a man is working on the port. He's the main breadwinner for his home. He has a wife and a child. Maybe the wife works part-time, as the case may be. The child is in school. And that gentleman, is making a 2013 salary. His union fought for him. His union fought for him in when was it? His union fought for him and reached an agreement with the same Minister of Finance as now.
No, that was in...
that would have been Minister.
Yeah.
That was 2019 then.
KD's was the minister at that time.
So his union fought for his rights.
Signed the agreement with the union.
Right. Fought for his rights and obtained a signed agreement. A signed agreement to increase his salary by 12%.
That's correct.
And a government change, and now, because these guys maybe want more money in the public purse to fatten themselves, to have SRC have access to money to fatten their own pockets with their salary increase, they've told the port workers, scrap that 12%, we'll start from scratch. That's the position. And I think it's important we put it in perspective. We have, in 2024, people living on 2013 salaries. And they're asking for exactly what was promised to them, what was signed, what was agreed, nothing more, nothing less. That's a fair assessment, right, caller?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, meanwhile, the SRC, as you mentioned, the SRC has recommended major increases in salary.
For a select few.
For not performing.
1,000 workers involved here.
Yeah.
For non-performance.
This 1,000 starts from the Prime Minister, the opposition leader, cabinet ministers, MPs,
Chief Justice,
and directors, managers and directors, and the senior personnel in the government service. They all will be getting home thousands, in fact, millions of dollars in back pay.
Correct, yeah. But caller, we do have another line and we just have 3 minutes left, so let's take the last caller and then we'll wrap up.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening. Hi, good night, Mr. Ishmael and Mr. Jagasta.
Good night, caller.
I am enjoying the program, I must say. With regard to the Salary Review Commission, it's alarming to think the ministers and so on want increases. But nobody is paying attention. They want increases. And what about the 5 pioneer divers who died, whose families can get compensation about now? You understand?
Correct.
Yeah.
And it is so sad to see what it is taking place. So that's my contribution tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much,
thank
caller.
I think what that caller and the lady at the beginning said is that the money could be better spent elsewhere. The money could be better spent to hire new skilled workers, such as doctors, teachers, and so on. The money could be spent elsewhere in fixing the machinery at the hospitals, expanding the limited resources for nurses and so on. And as the caller rightfully said, compensation for the pariah divers and their untimely death. And that is the truth. That is the truth. And the caller clearly feels as though the money could be better spent elsewhere for national development purposes.
Because the amount of money they spend on that inquiry, and at the end of the day, the divers, the families of the divers are nowhere better off than they were before.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I don't know what's really going on.
Yeah.
So, Richard?
Closing statements? At the end of the day, we live in a society where we must band together and strive for the best, regardless of race, religion, the texture of your hair, the color of your skin. In these circumstances, I look at the headlines in the papers on a daily basis, and I ask myself if this is truly a democracy we live in, when a Privy Council law lord can ask for investigation into a senior cabinet minister, and the Prime Minister says he doesn't know anything about that. I look at the newspapers and I see children dying in hospitals and reports being hidden and not disclosed as it should be. I look at the newspapers and I see the public in fearful of not only the crime, but the lack of effort and ingenuity of the TTPS. And I tell myself, now is the time. Now is the time to stand against it. Now is the time to make voices heard. Now is the time to take action. And that is all we're doing. We're bringing to light certain issues and saying, look at it with an open mind, look at it and determine whether or not you are better off now than you were in the past. And let's strive, let's ask those in authority, let's ask those with power to do better.
Well, my take on this is very simple. We have so many young people who will be eligible to vote. This is your opportunity. You will not have an opportunity like this again. I want you all to think hard. Watch what is actually going on in this country now. And please, I'm going straight with it. Let's get these people out of office. They have to be out of office. We cannot move forward with the next 5 years of this government. We have to change. That is my point.
So thank you everyone for watching Breaking Barriers. Tune in next week, Wednesday. Thank you for those who attended the dinner for the completion of the Barakah Grounds Hospital. And thank you for those who participated in the very fun, first time ever auction.
Yes, was welcome. Okay, good night, and we will see you next week.